Hi, it's Lars here. Just an editor's note. After we recorded this episode, we realized it was quite literally the longest Treknicity episode that we've ever recorded. So that we're not making you watch a 2.5 hour video, we're going to split it into two parts. So here's part one, where we talk about the themes of all the Star Trek series. Here we go.
When I started the sheet for this app, I wrote this in the cold open notes as filler. Now that I'm actually writing the cold open, it turned out not to be true. I suppose if I was doing a solo list, that would be easy as pie. But when you have 4 people in 2 different countries with varying genders, completely different generations, you're going to probably have a few disagreements. And when you have the volume of music from a 60-year-old franchise like Star Trek and a propensity for under-budgeting time on the episode, you end up with an episode that you have to split into 2 parts. So, here's the first half of that as we TierMaker the hell out of the opening themes of all the Star Trek shows, even Enterprise, whose themes suck ass, and Diane Warren is a complete bitch. And this is Treknicity. Welcome to Treknicity, a Star Trek podcast where we explore the Star Trek multiverse, one mission at a time. And my mic apparently tries to attack me. I'm your host, Patrick Murray, and joining me are those people whose musical tastes are decent, okay, and knucking futz in that order. Lars DeSenza, James Mothershead, and Cat Drake.
Wow, that's love.
Yes.
You, Patrick.
Pretty brutal.
I think you're in that one.
Yep. Okay.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. Look.
We both earned it. It was glorious. But we'll get to section 31 later.
In this episode, that's obviously a filler one, it's still better than Shades of Grey. We're breaking down the TierMaker to rank all the main themes of every Star Trek entry. Now, bear in mind, given the sheer number of movies and series, this is going to be a longer than usual episode. So hold on to your nacelles. It's time for an overhaul. Sorry. And get ready to shift this bitch into overdrive.
Okay, that was fun. So let's introduce our TierMaker list. So our top tier we're going to call, now that is what I call Trek. This is a groundbreaking. You hear this, it is Trek the moment it is played. They were going to have a few themes that are going to get the S tier. That there are multiple entries of this theme. Unless a later entry is clearly better than the other, we're probably going to give the S to the first one. Basically, it's if John Williams wrote our theme. We come close to that in at least 4 entries here. Our A tier is going to be, I have a playlist. It's a great theme. It captures Trek. You hear it. It's great. If I were to break out the kazoo.
Please don't.
I could probably play the theme and you would understand it pretty quickly.
If you bring out
it's fun to listen to for at least 10 to 20 seconds before you hate me for using that. And then, of course, Lars initiates the remote punch. B tier, it's the theme for. This is a solid entry. Not every theme is written by Jerry Goldsmith or Michael Giacchino. These are also recognizable on a kazoo, and you like them. The C tier is going to be, so the title says, Star Trek. It's a theme. It's not a great theme, but it's a good enough theme that when you hear it, you know your series is like, okay, I'm cool there. But if I'm trying to make my best themes, it's not on the list. D tier is very short tracks. We could just it exists. We could forget about it because who cares? And then our bottom ass end tier, and I think maybe we got one theme in this, is the Section 31 tier. It's shit. I would have put the Enterprise theme here, but unfortunately, I'm not the only
No.
voice.
Nope.
So, and then to be blunt, on re-listen, I had to rank it higher than I would have liked to. So some rules, some of the judging rules we judged on several factors: the quality of the theme, just how well the music's constructed, how well it tells a story or introduces the theme. The gold standard of this is anything John Williams wrote, which unfortunately is nothing in Star Trek. Memorability, again, it's the kazoo test. Telling the story, how well does the theme tell? Also, did Diane Warren write it? If so, that shit. This doesn't apply for 3/4 of the people in this episode rating the music. I just can't stand her. I'll rip on her later. And as with most of the lists involving Star Trek, the bar is already high. So some of them that are getting the lower tiers are getting them because we have to grade this on the curve, and the curve is pretty high. So we averaged it out, and we had a few rounds of this to get to which ones get the S tier. So let's do this. We're going to start with the original series. Probably, if let's suppose that opening stinger, to be fair, should be S tier on itself, bud.
Right. So just bear in mind that some of these clips are going to be a little bit longer than others because I felt that it was really important to try to highlight the things about that particular theme that was noteworthy. So again, some of them are really short because you only need a small snippet of it, 30 seconds or less, to know what it is. Other ones, you really have to hear it to get the vibe.
So obviously, this is the original series theme. It was written by Alexander Courage and not Gene Roddenberry, though that bastard got writing credits for making lyrics and getting payday off of it. He can eat my ass for that one.
Yeah, but what the lyrics?
No, there's actually words that nobody has ever performed because they are god awful garbage.
Nah, okay. All right.
But
Star Trek, we're going on a trek in space.
yeah, they're about that bad. So because the downside of this theme is it's really a B tier theme. It's a good theme, but it feels like a 60s theme. It's not the greatest, though the opening stinger is tied to literally almost every version of Trek. So I gave it a B for being good, but not a truly great thing. Lars?
Yeah, I had to give it a B as well because for me it's the OG fanfare. So to me that's what put it up as high as it is. But in line with all of the other themes that have come out since 66 that have that particular fanfare in it, it's not as good. And you can come at me if you want. I love it. I mean, I love it enough to not put it down further, but it had to sit at B for me.
Yep.
Cat?
Cat?
I mean, I gave it a C. My kind of primary reasoning was, at least for me, I get that it was like early days of Trek. They weren't entirely sure whether it was gonna grow into this amazing franchise that we know and love today. So it kind of lacked that kind of grandiose oomph that we know and love from future series, which for me, because it lacked that je ne sais quoi, I was just like, yeah, no, thank you.
James?
Yeah, yeah. So it was a really difficult one to actually rank this because Lars is right. It is the OG Star Trek theme, and it is iconic. but I still give it a C because I mean, where Star Trek breaks the mold is some of the sequels are often better than the original. And a lot of the music that's come after this, it far supersedes this. So I'm still at C.
But yeah, overall though, we kind of had to agree that because it is the iconic, that's why we bumped this one all the way up to the B tier because it couldn't go below that. It had we been a little more in agreement, it might have made A, but it gets the B tier, which brings us to the animated series.
The what?
Sorry, the what series? I seem to be missing something from my memory.
I've never watched it myself.
It doesn't sound like Lower Decks.
Lower
Sorry.
Decks, what's that?
Yeah.
It's filmation garbage. It's a theme. We don't have the rights to the original theme. Let's make our own. I threw it in the D tier because I threw it to Very Short Tracks because it was deserved that. Lars?
I'm right there with you. D tier for me. In my opinion, in no way, shape, or form would I have ever guessed that was a theme song for anything to do with Star Trek.
Or anything. Kat?
Yeah, I gave it an F because animation from the
theme?
7. Oh, pardon?
That theme?
An F for that theme, but also after tracking down and watching some of the episodes that are freely available on the internet, animation from the 70s sucked more balls than the Planet of the Man-Eaters, and also it was bad. Like,
James, were you fantasizing and got yourself laughing?
I was just
It just took me off guard.
I will also say, watching this made me realize there is now something worse than season 3 of One Punch Man.
Oh, wow.
In terms of animation style, that is.
Okay, and James.
I have no idea what to say after that. Look, out of all the theme tunes that stick out in my head, this is probably the bottom of the entire list of musical compositions of Star Trek. From my perspective, it's forgettable. The reason why I'm saying it's forgettable is one, I often forget that Star Trek the animated series exists. And if someone plucked that piece of music out from anywhere and asked me what it was, I wouldn't be able to answer the question. So that's why it's bottom of the tier for me.
Yep. The only reason we know what this theme is now is because we were listening to these to try to figure them out, and we recognize it only because of that reason. But as we discussed, it is absolutely forgettable, and it's technically a theme, so it got Very Short Tracks.
I mean, to be fair, Patrick, it's not the only reason why you remember it. You two are the only, with the exception of me and Kat, you two were in your prime when animated series was first aired.
I was pissing in diapers. Well, when it was like 74.
Here's the thing: the theme for animated series is technically a theme, the same way that.
Were you gonna try to defend your future rating of Section 31 or some shit?
No, the animated series is technically a theme, just how Episode 5 of Starfleet Academy is technically part of Starfleet Academy.
Now that is pure on rage baiting.
Yeah.
It's not rage baiting. I assure you that is my complete and honest opinion. And if you do not like it, then I hope you get stuck in a chamber full of tribbles or Taraxian furflies.
Okay. Either way, we're moving on. Let's go to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
And one, and two.
Yeah, you probably should have got the beginning of the. That's the first time, last time we'll hear this.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely win A tier. This is the Jerry Goldsmith theme. Originally the motion picture theme, which we'll rate that, we'll give it its rating there. This I first heard as the TNG theme. It is absolutely a beautiful theme and always is tied to the Enterprise, to the D and the TNG era. So I gave this one an easy A. It's beautiful. Lars?
Well, just like the last two that we've gone through, I've been up there on the same rating as you. I gave it an A because for me, that was when Star Trek really hooked me. And I will forever recognize that as being a Star Trek theme, even though it borrows heavily from the motion picture fanfare, if you like.
It's the same theme.
Yeah, I just feel that for me, that was absolute chef's kiss for a main theme.
Cat?
Yeah. This was my first S rank of the whole list for two main reasons. Number one, Enterprise was actually the first not Enterprise. I'm thinking of the ship name. Next Generation was the first Star Trek show I watched. That was what got me into Trek. That was what helped me bond with some fellow Trekkies. Like, it was chef's kiss. Number two, Riker.
Oh yeah.
And yes, because of that, there were many an injury. I suffered many an injury as a child from trying to replicate the Riker mount.
Oh yes, I could see you trying to do the Riker maneuver. Okay, I got it. All right.
James?
Okay.
Yeah, it goes without saying, this is one of the most iconic, amazing piece of music. It's the very essence of what makes Star Trek Star Trek. This piece of music, and it's funny because obviously, this, from my perspective, was graded A, but there was a reason for that. Because obviously there's a very similar piece of music coming up in the list that I think is the very embodiment of this. It's obviously just a slightly different version of it, isn't it? But ultimately, this deserves to be S category.
Yeah, and I think when we and to be fair, when we discussed this, we had TNG, the motionless picture, and Star Trek V as the three Star Trek series that use this as their main opening theme. We had to pick one of those for an S, and TNG is getting the S on this one.
Well, yeah, of course it deserves the S. It's the most Star Trek show to ever Star Trek.
Although we should have put a D tier for the D because it's the S tier.
But no, it was literally, it was the most, it was the Trekkiest Trek of all Treks.
It was really,
Like,
it was quite Star Trekky Star Trek, wasn't it?
Yeah.
it was peak Star Trek.
Yeah, it's not my peak theme.
The most Star Trek to ever Star Trek of all Star Trekking time.
They starred the hell out of those treks.
Those stars, yeah, they trekked them. They trekked them all right.
So let's get to our first twofer, which is Deep Space Nine. First of all, there were two themes on this one. First 3 seasons, we have the more basic theme. We have Dennis McCarthy to thank for this one. And then season 4 came along, the Defiant came along, Worf came along, and we get the rework.
Now, while it's still the same fanfare, you can tell that they've put much more depth in this one.
It's that percussion line that's underneath. It just really makes it awesome. So,
Yeah.
by our rules, we were going to rank the rule was we had to rank one higher than the other. For these themes, I gave the first version a B and the first version a B and the second version an A because while the first theme is beautiful and slow and soaring, it feels like you're alone in space and is stuck at a space station. Once the percussion goes in, it has more motion, more energy. So B and an A for me. Lars?
So this was my first S tier that came into this list. I gave the first version an A because like you, I felt that even though it was very rich and very, again, very thematic and soaring, to me, the difference between the first version and the second version is like one is like squeaking out a fart after you've just had a really good meal. The second one with the percussion line underneath, like being trapped in a porta potty right after you've had Taco Bell, and it is. I mean, you got the line. It is taking you to places you have never been before. So that's why it gets my S tier.
Okay, that confused me. Wow. Cat.
So
Jesus, man.
I gave both themes an A because, well, purely just for the fact that when like listening to them for this, I couldn't really hear the difference between them, and I couldn't make a decision. So essentially, I listened to them again, and how do I describe this in terms you can all understand?
Use
No
English.
farts. No farts.
No farts.
Yeah, no
No
thoughts.
fucking farts.
Both Deep Space Nine themes, absolute giga chads. The rest of the themes, were like sub 5, sub 5 chuds. Deep Space Nine, all throughout on both versions, based giga chads. Absolutely mogging the rest of the themes.
Wow. Okay, I don't understand that at all. Okay, James.
Yes, I've confused Patrick.
I just want to say, like, I know your lips were moving, but I didn't understand a thing you said.
Yeah.
Can we go back
You
to
see,
farts?
chat. You see what I have to deal with.
To be
So-
fair. Okay, so James.
I can't keep coming after Cat. I keep losing the train of thought every single time. So season 1 to 3, A. I'm gonna slightly cheat and make season 4 to 7 S.
Let's just
Because
get that done there.
You can't do that. We've already got the scores on the sheet, man.
Well, it's all right. It's my school. I'll do what I want. In terms of the like, everybody knows, right? Deep Space Nine is my favorite series of all. It goes without saying it's my absolute go-to series of all of them, and the theme tune is iconic. But I'll tell you the reason why I'm essing 4 to 7, and it's that thump at the start of the new updated version of it, which just tickles the brain cells. Something chronic. It's that iconic. Doom.
I mean, this one, James.
Ah,
That
that
is
one.
good.
See, that bit of that song is the same as James hitting the wacky tobacco.
See, that's me. That's me sitting down to pinch a loaf, and it's just boom. Like
Yeah, but the difference.
it's tolling the dead. It is letting everybody know that death incarnate is about to be unleashed upon them.
I'll just bring it back to being a bit more family friendly here.
Too late.
It's like me at the end of the day, just after work, getting into the lounge, and then crashing on the sofa. You know, that whole sit back and kind of boom.
Yeah. So when your butt hits the couch, it's just suddenly.
Perfect.
Sat there doom scrolling TikTok, hitting his vape.
So yeah. So obviously we went A for this. Both versions of the theme are at least A, and we gave the second version, seasons 4 to 6. We bumped that to the S tier.
Hell yeah!
Hells
Yeah.
to the yeah. Let's go to Voyager.
All right, Miss.
More Jerry Goldsmith.
Every time I hear this theme now, all I can think of is the timpani drummer
Spaceballs,
from Spaceballs
of course.
when they're doing Rock Zarathustra. I gave this. I wanted. The reason why I went with a longer piece of this one is because, for me, it was the first time there was a feeling of hope in a theme.
Yeah.
I wanted you to hear that. I wanted you to hear the fanfare, the trumpets, and also, know, again. So onward we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll start this off. I dropped this in at a B. I dropped this to start in the B tier. It's a good theme, unquestioningly. It's not my favorite, but it's one that definitely tells the story of Voyager. So it's very good. Easily deserves at least the B tier. But that brings us to the rest of everybody. Lars.
Oh yeah, okay. So thank you very much for telling us how you're wrong.
Again, I graded on a pretty harsh curve here.
I know you did, and I know that you put a pretty critical eye on all of these things. Again, for me, this was whenever I hear the swell of the fanfare going. Again, you just like it's just going to build and build and build. For in a way, for heavy metal fans, for me, it's
So
like
F tier?
listening to the solo from Metallica's Unforgiven about to play. It's going. It's going to build and it's going to go somewhere. And as I said before, it's the first time that I really felt that there was a theme that gave me real hope. I didn't want to give it the S tier because, again, these are supposed to be for like the best of the best. So I had to bring it in an A.
Cat?
So I also ranked it an A for two reasons.
Will we be able to understand those reasons?
Number one, first reason. The Voyager theme is very much the it's the hope core version of all of Star Trek. Like you hear this and you think, you know what? Maybe everything is gonna be okay. Like you could be having a really bad day, you could hear the Voyager theme, and you're just like, whoa. Suddenly, all of these big problems aren't important anymore. I feel good.
At least for 44 minutes.
Exactly. The second reason.
Till Janeway kills Tuvix.
Well, that's the thing. The second reason Captain Janeway is the human personification of the guitar solo from Freebird. And you hear this theme and you just think, oh my god, something's going to happen that's going to make me want to bust out the 40 ounce of liquor, the General Enfield, and blast Freebird whilst going down the highway at 120.
That,
Genocide.
that's if you want, if you associate Freebird with genocide, but cool.
Hey, look, you don't know how much Helldivers 2 and Halo I've played. The amount of times I've listened to Freebird whilst massacring aliens.
Oh, jeez.
Appropriate for Janeway. James.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, not quite sure how to follow from Cat, but
Gotta try harder.
but I'm a little bit surprised you actually marked this down as a B, in all honesty, Patrick, because I mean, from my perspective, it's definitely A or S category level theme tune. It's inspirational. It's the fanfare is there, the uplifting. This is a theme tune, in my opinion. Star Trek Voyager, especially. This is the theme tune that America needs right now. And
Rather than
for
Star
that
Trek 6.
reason- yeah, and for that reason, it is definitely up there in the top for me.
Wait a minute. I just want to say, I thought the theme for America right now was Highway to Hell.
Well, yeah, there is, but there's always hope, which is where Star Trek Voyager comes in.
I thought the theme for America Now was the Imperial March by John Williams.
Seems reasonable. But yeah, for Voyager, my B is a little bit on the harsh side. So yeah, the A is absolutely deserved without question. So let's go to Enterprise.
The way Patrick's been grading so far, he would be the teacher that everyone hates in high school.
Hang on. Do we need to start that moment again then, or?
Yeah, that's enough. That's the original. This is the twofer as well. There's the first version, the first couple seasons.
Oh no, you're getting it all.
Really? You have to run all of that Diane Warren's music? Okay.
Hey, don't use words like Diane Warren.
Yeah, I despise her for being this pop crap generating machine. I compare her to AI, but I have more respect for her than that, because AI. Even I can rip her for being AI.
Okay, well, I'll play the second one.
Yeah, let's play the second one.
All right, here we go.
I'll tell you what I really think about it.
You know,
Okay, thank you.
I might have this in the playlist at my wedding.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you what I really think. Having listened to, when it first came out, I hated this with all the fire passion of 1,000 Suns. Giving it the re-listen to, the first one is boring pop crap. I slid this up but I gave it at least the D tier because I could forget about it. But I almost considered the second version of the theme a little bit more. I could listen to I could live with this as a theme and gave it the C tier. So the needle moved a little bit. Obviously, it's going higher than that because you guys don't hate this song with all the passion in the world. Lars.
Well, to be fair, I gave both versions the same grade because to me they sound the same, despite the fact that if I had to go by decimals or fractions, I would put the second version a little bit higher because, again, it does feel like it's got a little bit more rhythm to it just because they added in the percussion, all the way through, as opposed to just during the chorus part of the song. So again, I'm not one of those people that hate it. I do not hate this theme. I only scored it on a C because I felt like in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't as good as the others. So, credit where credit's due, but it's not as good as the others. And that's why I graded a C.
So, Kat, let's start with your wrong opinion.
Oh, shots are fired.
Okay,
You'll
here's the
see
thing.
why.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hear me out now. Hear me out. Let me cook. Let me cook, chat.
Stop being repetitive.
So,
Justify
the first version, I rated a B. Purely because it has that like quality to it that I was like, yo, I could jam out to this for hours at a time. Like I could sit in the back garden with my friends. We could be drinking alcohol. We could be, we could just be sat around the fire pit having a great party. Someone puts this on. Most likely, we're all just gonna like start having deep conversations about really fun things. So yes, I rated the first version a B. The second version sounded like a more depressed version of the first version, so I rated it a C.
Like I said, wrong opinion. James.
Yeah, so let me just tell you why you're all wrong.
Oh, okay. Please.
So, yeah,
Please elaborate, Jimothy.
well, apart from the fact that none of you have true faith of the heart in this theme tune,
I'm gonna.
this holds a very special place in my heart. This theme tune, and I'll tell you for why. Tell you for why. I did my first dance in my wedding to this theme. So it will always rank.
Wait, James is married?
Yes, we could do that here in the UK. So
We can still do that in the US, maybe.
For now.
I
Yeah.
was one of those that kind of hated on the Enterprise theme tune. I thought it was actually quite fun being different. We were coming into the
Fucking nerd.
noughties. Voyager had finished, and it was kind of a fresh take on Star Trek, and I really liked it for that. And it felt different because it was different, and for that reason, I always really liked that theme tune. And when it got into season 3 and 4, it brought back that same feeling that I had when Deep Space Nine kind of changed it at the 3 and 4 stages of it much faster pace, which rang true on the screen, because obviously it started the whole Xindi arc from that point, so it had to pick up the pace. So I thought it was perfect for that reason. But yeah, I danced to this song with my husband, so it will always rank high in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you're all wrong.
I get that. Yeah. Like I said, this is objective and everybody's got their own opinions, and one of the four of us is wrong thinking the second one's the worst version. So when we on our scoring, this one was probably the most contentious. It scored towards the C tier on both of them. But we kind of had to do a lot of back and forth, and ultimately the first version ended up staying in C tier, and the second version did end up going to the B tier, which is why Cat's wrong. Now let's leave the Berman era, and we are going to Star Trek Discovery. Our composer on this one is Jeff Russo, who's going to show up a lot here. Takes a little while to get going.
It did, but I wanted to include that. I wanted to include that build up because the rest of the theme itself felt very similar across everything. So Again, we've got other themes of
Yep.
Russo's, and I felt it was very similar. So again, forgive me for the for just clipping the beginning, because I felt like that was
Okay.
a really unique portion of the theme.
Yeah. And from that point, it basically just starts build. The main theme starts playing and building and intensifying until it hits that end. And yeah, it pulls a little more of the original series in than just the normal stinger that a lot of the others tend to do.
Hmm.
It's definitely more ambient, and it feels very much like the Discovery one. I easily gave this one a B because I didn't like it when I first heard it, and I slowly grew to like it more. But again,
Just like
my
when I
heart just
joined the
got to B.
podcast.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Lars.
I gave it an A, and I'm gonna tell you for one reason only.
Uh,
Because it was the first time that I felt a theme truly conveyed the intellectual nature of Star Trek.
it's a simple
Look
good
at
one.
Lars using big fancy words like intellectual.
And
That's because I graduated.
yes.
I too, actually, no, I can't say I graduated. COVID hit when I was meant to graduate.
Hmm.
I just said, screw it, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kat, let's see what kind of words you use.
So Discovery for me uh, was also an A tier. Um,
Use your word. Matt. Use your
I
word.
am trying to use my words, okay? Oh god, no, my blood sugar is so high right now purely because these themes are so sweet,
Oh,
so
we
chock
did
full of
just
life.
get through Enterprise, so
Yeah, and I loved Enterprise
saccharine
because
shite.
I've got faith of the heart. But no, Discovery, you know, it was an A tier. It was A tier worthy, purely because number one, it was like the first good Star Trek series that we had seen in a while because there was a large gap between Enterprise and Discovery because of
Hollywood.
yeah, because of Hollywood and because of all the deals surrounding everything. But either way, first really good Star Trek series in a while. And the other thing is,
And that was with season 1.
yeah, sorry, brain. It just had that, like, that build up. It's, how do I put this in family friendly terms?
Why start now?
You know what? You're right. If this song was a person, you bet your ass I would. Oh.
Okay.
all right, there.
Wow. From intellectualism in Lars's case to that, James, please bring us
Yeah,
home.
I'm probably going to follow suit in all honesty, because when we enter the Kurtzman era and the Jeff Russo era, in the Star Trek themes, it's almost like you're constantly being edged.
Edging.
To the point of threatening a climax at the end, which I love about that kind of music. In all honesty, I love the subtle undertones and the build up to it. And I really liked your point, Lars. It's the musical composition is really intelligent, and that's how I see it in terms of the science aspect of what Discovery brought to play on the screen.
Yep.
So that
That's the
reason,
race Discovery,
it's definitely A tier from my perspective.
And yeah, we pretty much that was pretty much an easy A tier. Like I said, I'm the harsh one, but that's why we go through all of us rating it to see where we come out on it. And yeah, this one gets an A, which brings us to Picard. Another Russo theme. Yeah. This one, very much more of an evocative one. don't know if it always matched the tone of the show, to be fair. So, but yeah, this one I think probably was one of the more. This is probably the most lacking one, just because it really an emotion generator one, but it doesn't exactly click with the series. I was quick to give it I was pretty quick to drop this one into C tier because there just wasn't a whole lot to it, but it wasn't a bad theme. That was the thing. Lars?
Well, I put it at a B, not because I didn't like it. The inner light references or callbacks that are there did actually evoke a very strong emotional response from me, especially and then the very melancholy strings and whatnot. It does kind of hint to Picard's future, but at the same time it just didn't feel like I was listening to a Star Trek theme. So that's kind of why I had to knock it down a notch
Mhm.
from A to B.
Cat? I'm afraid.
I gave it a C purely because
You're wrong.
no, don't get me wrong, the show was great. Sometimes you can have a great show, but music that is as bland as plain porridge. That's what the theme was for Picard, for me at least. The Picard theme, the entire way through, was pretty much just a bowl of cornflakes with no milk. It was cornflakes with water.
Oh,
Okay.
well, James, explain why Cat's wrong.
Yeah, so let me explain why Cat's wrong. So I think Russo was quite clever in terms of the actual musical composition for Picard. So this was a Picard that we were seeing 30 years later, and he's getting on a bit. He's retired. He's at the vineyard, and in all honesty, this hit all the right tones in terms of invoking that emotion of growing old, facing your mortality. Um, Not being as kind of statesman-like as we've seen him in previous series. And for me, that kind of hit all the right tones as far as I'm concerned. So for that reason, I gave it B.
Yeah, that kind of split us down the middle on this one. After some discussion, we kind of eventually settled and decided to put this in the B tier because it's a decent theme. That brings us to one of my fun favorites, despite my rating, Lower Decks. Yay, another pretend to be another theme. Composer on this one's Chris Westlake. It basically draws off of the TNG theme for its inspiration. So it's very much that theme again. But again, what made the TNG theme work so great, we get that same thing here in Lower Decks. Get up there. You are not going in D tier. This was a fun. It was fun, and in the title of the credits, it plays off of all the silly things that are happening to the ship. But I couldn't give it any higher, so it got the B tier for me. Lars?
Well, it was a solid A for me on this one because it felt like Lower Decks was not truly, and then it's going to sound kind of weird, but for me, it was not a Star Trek series. It was a love letter to Star Trek. It's like watching.
I'll ship you some soap to wash your mouth out for that one.
It's like watching Galaxy Quest, okay, or watching the Orville, okay. They are just beautiful love letters to what Star Trek was, and this is exactly what Lower Decks is. The music was just chef's kiss for what the series is. It's not like it's not saying, "Hey, we're just another Star Trek series." We are we are our and we're our own beast, our own creature, whatever you want to say. And that's why it scored as high as it did for me.
Cat,
Now, please tell us
explain it.
why you're wrong. Why you're so wrong that I had to do something later on in this episode just because you pissed me off with this.
Explain this.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Lars. Star Trek, well, Star Trek Lower Decks was deserving of an F.
Okay, and explain why you're wrong.
Explain this.
I'm not wrong because, as we all know, women are always right.
Don't make me transphobic, damn it. No! Anyway, continue.
Yeah, as we all know, women are always right. And, well, honestly, it's too goofy to be Trek. The cast, bollocks. And, I mean, come on, man. Amazon, did you really have to do this to us? When all the other animated series you've done have been complete and utter shit that get review bombed? Except for Vox Machina, because Vox Machina is sick because it's D&D. But even still, Lower Decks is not Trek. I will not take any further comments or questions. Anyways, James, what's up?
Yeah, we're ignoring you now. James?
We'll just cut that out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mute her channel.
Yeah.
So so from my perspective, Lower Decks is the epitome of Star Trek. But the comical, whimsical side of Star Trek, you know, I almost dubbed this the Orville, the animated series. And it's interesting, and this is why I gave it an A. Is have you ever noticed how similar the actual theme tunes to of Lower Decks and the Orville actually are? Have you listened to them side by side? They're not far off from one another. And I love both series, and I love Galaxy Quest, and I love a series of Star Trek that didn't take it so seriously. It was genuine perfection, and I'm still mourning the cancellation of Lower Decks. So that's why it's deserved of an A, and Cat is completely, utterly wrong in this situation.
Yeah. The downside was Cat's absolutely wrong and terrible rating brought this one down so hard. We ended up having to put this one in the B tier. And by the way, if I had ranked the theme based on how much I like the series, I would have made it double S tier. So yeah, my rating was exactly that. Speaking of animated shows that are really, really good, and Cat is absolutely wrong in every possible human way. Let's go to the most unloved by CBS, Star Trek Prodigy.
Pardon me?
That was so cute. Yeah. To be fair, I didn't remember this one when I put together a list to listen to it. As soon as I heard it, it's like, holy shit, this is so good. It immediately got an A tier for that. Then I looked at the composer. It's Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
To give you an idea where I rank Michael Giacchino in my list of composers, I put him just below and the person who will take over for John Williams. That's how much I love Michael Giacchino without question. This theme absolutely feels like pure excitement, like we're going to get a really cool Star Trek theme. So yeah, A tier all the way. Lars.
So for me, this was another easy A because it does elicit a feeling of adventure. And when you see during the opening titles the protostar flying through warp space, it's just like like dun, 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 dun. You're like yeah, let's go. And if I was watching as a young person, which again this series was aimed at, I mean, it was developed in a collaboration with Nickelodeon. Um,
And then Murder After 2 seasons.
I well, you can thank was it Paramount for that?
Yep.
Uh,
We're gonna hate on them a little bit more. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, easy A for me.
Kat, is this going to be any different than Lower Decks?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Explain.
So my reasoning for Lower Decks earlier is like it pretends to be like adult animation, which never goes well. The only good adult animation is Smiling Friends and Rick and
But
Morty.
but we're talking about themes here, so
Yeah. So Prodigy, again, F tier. Main reason, it suffers the children's animated show adaptation curse, or just children friendly show adaptation curse.
Okay. So what about the theme tune?
Sucked balls. More than the Planet of Man-Eaters. In fact, this is worthy of. Okay, how do I explain this?
You can't.
So, no, all of the F tier themes that I have rated, they're my code of honor.
Wow.
don't play it for her.
I'm
She
not
doesn't
playing it
deserve
now.
it.
I'm sorry, you're not getting that one. Sorry.
No. I mean this in a way. They are that bad that like I have to compare it to Code of Honor. In the same way that Patrick hated it every time I brought it up last season.
No, I
they-
enjoyed that fun.
So
anything I rated an F is on like Code of Honor, Planet of the Man Eaters, Charlie X levels of bad.
Lars, we need to get Tony Newsom on the podcast so she can tell Kat how wrong she is.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to actually see Tony Newsom just go, F you, Cat.
That would be great.
I'm gonna reach out to her just so I can get her to record that for us.
Yeah, just a short clip would be
Yeah,
great.
That
Tony,
would
if you're
be great.
watching this, you know, just drop us a
James,
line.
get us back to sanity.
Yeah. So, what we're hearing, dear watchers, listeners, is Cat doesn't understand joy, and from a Prodigy perspective, look, it's geared towards a very younger audience, right? It was released on Nickelodeon. We knew what it was getting into, but from my perspective, it brought back all the feel good feelings I had as a child watching Star Trek. You know, the adventure was there, and that theme tune kind of just epitomizes the space adventure that you were then about to watch. It was exciting, it was fresh, it was new, and I got goosebumps. I remember the first time I actually listened to that theme tune. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a bit biased when it comes to Michael. I'm gonna absolutely trash his last name, but I absolutely adore him.
Chiquino.
Giacchino. But I do love him, and he's a really good composer. I don't think he's ever composed anything poor. So for this, it's definitely A, and
Yeah,
Cat can go suck an A for it.
Yeah. Fun fact about Giacchino, J.J. Abrams actually reached out him to compose the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, and the only reason he didn't was because Giacchino looked at him and says, "Just have John Williams do it. Come on." He did also do some Star Wars as well, and is great in it.
I just want to say
Go ahead.
one last thing, and it just kind of popped in my head. So
Besides that, Cat sucks.
well, but anyways, anybody who listens to Iron Maiden, for me, this theme was equivalent to the first time I heard the song "The Trooper" and the first time I ever heard what is known commonly as the galloping bass line.
Oh yeah.
Exactly, but again, that's what it elicits. It elicits that kind of emotional response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It ended up as a B because Cat tanked it. It would have been an A otherwise. Just plain and
The
simple.
old man fist at you, Cat.
So that brings us to Star Trek.
You want to shake your fist at me? Okay, fine.
And it's another Jeff Russo theme.
we go. Away.
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna put this up here right now. Oh crap.
Hopefully, our dancing distracted the viewers.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it right here. This was our highest rated of them all. It is getting the S tier. It is the best of the themes, period. Not my favorite, but definitely the S tier. Reason it got there for me is it took everything that was in that original Alexander Courage theme and made it 1,000 times better.
Mm.
And just you feel that, and it is just everything that a Star Trek theme should be. And Jeff Russo nailed it. Lars.
Again, I have to agree with you. It took the best
agree.
best elements of Alexander Courage's original theme and just made it feel much more deep. I felt like there was physical weight to this one. And when you watch the opening titles to any of the seasons so far of Strange New Worlds, you're just like with the Enterprise. I mean, it effectively is Star Trek's version of the Bonanza theme. Okay, I mean, come on.
Yeah, Kat, we're not going to give you shit this time. Go for it.
She
S rank, baby.
That's 3 S's in a row, folks.
Yeah, the main reason, it's cool as shit. It's recognizable. Like, okay, here's the thing. And older Trek fans, right? They will hear TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and they will instantly be like, yeah, that's my Trek. Whereas newer Trek fans will hear Strange New Worlds or Discovery, and instantly they're like, yep, that's my Trek. It has that feel to it where people who are familiar with the series can essentially kind of just slot back in and be like, yo, this is actually kind of cool. And then new fans can also come in and be like, yo, I really enjoy this. I would like more. Where do I find more? Give me more. I need more Trek. And, I think it's because of the time when it came in. Strange New Worlds, just the theme of it, the show, everything, it opened a gateway to a wider, more wonderful world of Trek for new and old fans alike.
James, you're technically the wet blanket on this one, but with not much. So
well, I haven't f-bombed it like Kat has got on all the other great theme tunes that we've been doing high tier markings for. I gave this an A. So I mean, I was being really precious, I think, with my S scores. It's deserved. It's deserved to be at the top. It's a really good retake on an original iconic piece of music. And for that reason, it's definitely top tier for me. I don't think I need to say anything more aside from what you guys have said. It's a brilliant theme tune.
Yeah, it's the perfect. Which brings us to Starfleet Academy. I'm just wondering what clip Lars is going to pick here because I enjoy this theme.
I enjoy it.
This is another Jeff Russo theme. My problem with it is that it's basically a likable I basically like it to the Saint Anger of themes, except likable.
It's technically a Russo theme, but it's not a Russo theme.
There's just a bunch of pieces slapped together, and they're fun and they build, but I don't think they ever build to anything. That's the biggest problem that this one has. Oh no, it does not go there. It goes there. And while I love the series, especially episode 5, um, this theme only gets a C out of me. Lars?
So the reason why I give it a B isn't because I felt that it was a fantastic theme, because again, it did give off like stock music vibes to me. But what I did like about it is that Starfleet Academy is one of those series where they are trying to tell you right from the get-go that this is a new beginning. Okay. And that to me is exactly what the theme that's what it communicates to me. It's all it says is it's new, it's growth, it's a beginning. And I think that that did a very good job of it. Hence, I give it the B.
I'll agree with that one. Cat.
I gave it a C for two main reasons. Number one, like the show itself, obviously, like from what you can see and from what happens in the show, you can tell the show is Trek. However, the theme itself, no Trek whatsoever. And as well as that, it feels like it's had a bit of like Paramount corporate influence put on it, especially with the constant use of, nothing adventurous. It seems very, very like toast with just butter.
Hey,
Toast with butter's good.
I was gonna say, we talking
No, I know, but I know.
Dry
but,
white toast is a
Yeah, I
little
love a
too
bit
much.
of toast with butter.
Well, okay, fine. It's very dry white toast.
Yeah, all right.
How about
That's
this?
bad.
It's a chip.
Tepid tap water.
We
It's
we
a
love our butter.
It's a chip butty without butter.
It is. It's a chip butty without salt, without vinegar, without butter, none of it. It's just chips, a plain white bap, and that's it. There's no spice, no seasoning, nothing, no moisture to it. It's just dry.
Fair. So James, why don't you tell us why you and Kat and potentially and Patrick are wrong?
We scored it all C. You're the one who's wrong here. But
Yeah, you're the one that's wrong.
Yeah. So I was torn here. And I think the reason why I categorize it as a C instead of a B is because when you're looking at all the greats and all the things that we've ranked as B's so far, I
Mhm.
think this one out of all of them is probably the more benign version of a Star Trek theme song. And it doesn't mean to say it's not good. And this is the thing where we really tore ourselves apart individually and as a group coming up with this ranking, right? Because it was such a tough call in terms of the rankings. But this one, Jeff Russo was a bit of an edge too far, I think, in terms of the climactic point of a theme tune that Jeff Russo is very, very well known for. This kind of felt a little bit like we were just getting edged all the way through, and the climax wasn't there.
yeah, I mean, literally, we just put Strange New Worlds in the S tier as the best of them all, and Starfleet Academy is definitely going in the C tier. I'm wondering though. This is a quick question. Who does everybody think that they were going to change this theme and bump it up and make it better as the series went along, and we won't find that out now because they've murdered it after?
Yeah, because it sucks. Not the cancellation sucks, not the show.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be Cat and say something controversial.
Oh,
for the sake of saying controversial.
someone is going to capture that recording now and go, right, the big gay nerd said, well, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, somebody's clipping that and they're going to tear you a new one.
Edit that.
Well,
out.
no, that's the thing, right? The show itself was great. It had like 2 episodes that were hit or miss, and that was episode 5 and episode 9.
God.
Okay, yeah, we
Moving
can ignore
on.
you now. Okay. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Treknicity.com, as well as visiting all of our socials listed here, or find us on your favorite podcast service, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you have any ideas for future episode subjects, please feel free to drop a comment in this video or DM us on any of our social media.
And as always, rock out with your Spock out. We'll see you next time. So that was the end of part 1. Come back for part 2 next week where we tackle the themes to the movies.